It's been a while. But if you're new here, hi, I'm Abby, and if you're not, thank you for sticking around this long. I know over the last few weeks and even months, I've been, pretty inconsistent with my posting and uploading. And so I think I owe you guys an explanation to why my videos have not been as frequent and or as good, and just a little catch up about what's been happening in my life. So starting off, and okay, this isn't like the first thing that's recently happened, but I had this idea for this summer. I was going to be super productive. I was also going to get a lot of content done, but if you guys weren't aware, because I did post a short in memory, can't pronounce that word, commemorating his life, but my granddad did unfortunately pass literally like 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago today. Which a little bit of me thinks it's been such a long time because I have been doing things and it feels like so long because it's gone really fast and slow at the same time, but actually 3 weeks isn't an awful long time. And I've been processing this loss and giving myself time to grieve and space. So that's why really in the last 3 weeks I haven't really uploaded anything, because I haven't filmed and I haven't edited. I did film an evening routine, but it was really long and I wanted to make it really pretty, but that would take a lot of editing. Like, I honestly just didn't have it in me, and I haven't had it in me for a while. And on top of that, so that's been the most recent thing that I've been dealing with, but I've had a lot going on. So being perfectly honest, and I no doubt think any other student out there would have that same vibe, I was just really burnt out in that last term. So from June, end of May, beginning of June, I was just burnt out. I was just waiting for summer. That's why my content was very sparse. I was so burnt out. I went to 3 open days in 2 months. Even though they weren't school, that was 3 weekends really where I was busy, not having reset time at all, and I had shows, I had doctor's appointments and all sorts. It was just really chaotic and I was just done. I was just burnt out. And then by the time I let myself recharge, over the weekend, the first weekend of summer, the first week I started being really productive and I had this whole routine together, and I cleared out my desk to make it more appropriate for schoolwork because I wanted to get a lot of revision done for my A-levels next year. And then I went away on a little residential thing at the weekend. The second weekend, that was when I found out about my granddad. And so then I spent the next week, not in a right state, I wasn't in tears all the time, but just processing that. And I didn't realise then that that's really what I was doing. The reason why I couldn't get work done was because I was processing this, and even if it wasn't obvious, I needed time to reset and recharge. And I also had a really challenging weekend besides that. And so, but by the time I got back into the swing of maybe doing some work and things like that, I then went away for a week, and then the same cycle has appeared, and it's this week. So yeah, that's why things have been kind of inconsistent in the terms of the last month. But then, and burnt out, as I said, on top of that, anxiety has just been really getting me down recently, especially coming up to that last term. I think that was a part of the reason why I was so burnt out, was because my anxiety was through the roof. And to be honest, you didn't necessarily see that last year because it's actually been a year, not to the day, but I started the YouTube channel last year, in the summer holidays. But I had time to fully recharge because I had those 4 weeks where I literally was just sat on that sofa for 4 weeks watching TV, catching up. I know I watched Strange Things. I know I watched Strange Things. I remember watching Strange Things. Let's see. That's what I remember. I did probably watch a few other bits and pieces, but I watched Strange Things. I did have a few auditions, but neither here or there. Whereas this time I haven't really had that chance to just cool off from the year and just reflect and recharge, and yeah. And as I said, I mentioned the anxiety, which has been a big issue, and I did mention in my first video, if you haven't watched it, you know, go watch it, but it's probably really, really cringy, but you know, I think I did mention certain things. But one thing I did mention was childhood trauma, and that hasn't gone away. And I say that is things have been reoccurring with my father. I don't know. I'm thinking whether I should say it or not. Well, if I decide not to, I can edit it out. That's what editing is for. But my dad, so my biological dad, and I have to make the distinguish because I also have a stepdad. So my biological dad is an alcoholic. He has been all my life, and most recently social services had to get involved. I'm not going to go into details in this video. If you would like a full story time and debrief about my father, I would be open to making one, because I think it's important to talk about it because of awareness, to make people aware. And I know I'm not the only one that's struggling with, you know, addicts as parents, or just, you know, emotional abuse from parents, you know, about someone who's supposed to love you and doesn't really show it very well. So I've also been contending with that in the last few weeks, and all kind of surfacing up, especially with the addition of the anxiety. Like, it's just, I've just been overthinking my entire relationship with him, and yeah, there's nothing much to it, you know. And like I said, I was really busy leading up to the end of the year as well, and yeah, I think that also added to the burnout. And most recently, so the case has been closed with social services. It wasn't anything major, it was red flagged because I did a survey, which was then red flagged to these mental health nurses or whatever from the NHS, who I then mentioned that, yeah, my dad's a bit of an alcoholic and he's a bit of a dick, you know, all that stuff. And I was then referred to social services because they were concerned, and but because of that, what that has done, and this isn't me saying I'm in the wrong, I think it was all in my right to talk to someone about what I go through with my father. Like, he shouldn't be putting me in the situations he has done. But he doesn't want me at the funeral. Well, more specifically, he doesn't want me in the funeral car. I say that because there was the car, like, behind Pa, that's what I call him. Actually, to be clear, Pa as in my grandfather, not my father. And so basically the second car, that was one I was supposed to be in, but he didn't want me in the car. I think he's accepted that I will be at the funeral, but he doesn't want me kind of near him or interacting with him because he's worried about losing his job and things like that. I do think that's the cover he's saying. Because he has it in his head that I've lied and made wrongful accusations at him, which hasn't been the case at all. But what's actually now happening is I'm going to be in the front car, but that's not really related. But I was just kind of maybe giving context about the current situation. Is I'm probably not going to be seeing him for a while, which is probably a good thing, but anyone who knows, you know, like, it's such a complicated issue. Now this is something very different. But still related to reasons. So for the last not 6 months now, it was 6 months when I was originally telling the doctors, but so back in October, when I was filming my short film, Don't Let Me Fool You, I actually had an ear infection. But what that also triggered is pain in my right ear. For context, I'm realising you're not going to understand. I had a perforated right ear, which is like a hole in the eardrum, for those who don't know, from like the ages of a baby, like around there, like 1 or 2, till I was like 10, because I had a surgery to get it fixed, and things were fine. Like, yes, it was always tender, and that's just always something it was going to be, but I hadn't had an ear infection in like years, and then I got one in my left ear, which wasn't the perforated one. But either way, my right ear though was in a lot of pain still. And when we were originally there at the doctor's about my left ear, when they then looked into the right ear to see how, you know, to compare it, they said my right ear was re-perforated. Which was a concern for me, because I'm like, well, half the things I do now are based on my hearing. If it's perforated, I'm screwed. Like, I can't do it anymore. But, you know, an ongoing cycle of multiple different doctors telling me multiple different things. You know, some saying it looked like my ear had never been perforated, some saying it was perforated, some saying it wasn't, some saying it was infected. You know, for, you know, one time I was just given antibiotics over the phone. And I had like referrals as well, like a Kingswood referral. I'm being referred back to Dr. Newman, who was the original surgeon, and stuff like that. Then, you know, different doctors say, oh, there's an issue with the scar tissue. Different doctors say, oh, the scar tissue looks fine, and all sorts. And one time the pain was so bad, because it was being pretty consistent, wasn't going away. It was, you know, really debilitating. Like, and when I say when the pain gets to its peak, it's like the whole right side of my face, and it is a numbing sensation across it. Like, it is just not good at all. You know, it's migraine city with it as well. It's just awful. We called 111 because that's what my mum told me to do. We were given this thing. It was either they would prescribe me antibiotics or I would go into A&E and that sort of stuff. The whole point is me and mum was sat here being like, it's not an ear infection. We know what an ear infection looks like. It is not an ear infection. I do not need antibiotics. So we went into A&E and we were there for hours and hours and hours. They were saying it was stuff to do with jaw. It wasn't, all sorts. Fast forward to early July. I had my ENT referral at the hospital at William Harvey with Dr. Newman. My ear is fine according to her, because she looked at it and we did stuff. She actually believes it's a neurological issue, and so she thinks it's optical neuralgia, which is basically an inflamed nervous system, which explains why I get pressure headaches. Like, even now I just have a headache here, like here. Maybe that's also because I don't have my glasses on. It's not, I'm not officially diagnosed, it's not officially confirmed, but that's been another thing. I have been struggling physically, as well. So that, I think's added to the burnout that my body is trying, because even if it's not that, there is something wrong with me at the moment physically, because I know my body. I also know what the human body should be like, and I know I shouldn't be getting a headache every single time I try to go to sleep, like, unless I'm absolutely exhausted, you know. I shouldn't be taking to put a cold compress or whacking my head against the bed, when I say, you know, to relieve the pressure for me to go to sleep. You know, I shouldn't be, you know, having a constant earache, and I shouldn't be getting migraines as often as I do. You know, there's just a lot. So there is something there. I've been talking a lot and stuff. And so, although there have been some other things happening in my life, like minor things, like, I'm not going to sit and drown and bored you to death with my life story, but that's just like a little summary, a little catch up of what's been going on. And I am going to try my best to get some content out to you guys. I think what I might do is delete the evening routine video that I did film and just do a new one. I will try and be more regular. I cannot promise anything for the rest of the summer. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to make any promises on any videos coming out for the rest of the summer. So for the rest of the summer, basically till September. There may be like 1 or 2. But I don't want to promise anything to you guys. I don't want to be like, oh, this is definitely gonna come out and I'm gonna be posting new videos every week. I don't want to do that at this moment in time, because that would just be unfair to you guys and also unfair to me, because they'll be putting that pressure on me to have to film videos. I will get back on track and become more frequent again, but I don't want to say when that's going to be. I think our best bet will be when the school year starts again, so in September. But anyway, thank you for staying around if you stayed this long, and I'm going to finish because this video is nearly 20 minutes long of me just talking. So, bye!